When I was a little kid, the Nintendo 64 was like a plastic piece of heaven to me. I remember I couldn't wait to get home from school, sneak into my brother's room, and play that thing until he eventually got back and kicked me out. Fuck homework, there's Nintendo to be played, Mom! And I wasn't alone. There were plenty of other kids who loved the N64, and it's still revered today. I mean, just look at the great selection of games. Mario 64, Mario Kart, Zelda, Banjo-Kazooie, Perfect Dark, Super Smash Bros. I mean, holy shit! These games were awesome. And buried somewhere far off in Nintendo land was Harvest Moon 64. Now, Harvest Moon was a game that never failed to confuse the people I tried to explain it to. The objective of the game is to restore and maintain your deceased grandfather's farm, alongside many other tasks such as getting married, having a kid, and just making friends around the town. And just about every time, the response I got was something like,
"Why don't you just go do all that in real life? That game sounds stupid."
To which I say, fuck off. I wasn't the most socially aware 7-year-old in the world, so this game filled many voids in my life. Anyways, you take control of Jack, the protagonist whose name you can customize, but we'll just call him Jack for simplicity's sake. You can also choose the names of your ranch, horse, livestock, and even dog, which I've named after my buddy, RoyalBleu. Now, this is one of my gripes with the game. It only offers 6 characters that you can enter for a name, so you'd better value each and every goddamn letter. Bad day to have names like Brandon, Chandler, or Bridget, but fuck it, it's not that important. On the other hand, one aspect about this game that I absolutely love is that the difficulty is completely optional. You're given until summer of your 3rd year, which is a decent amount of time, and then your farm will be evaluated based off the things you achieve in that given time. The game continues after this so-called ending, allowing you to finish any goals which you couldn't get around to in the allotted time. Or you can just continue to dick around on your save. That's what I always did. Because of this, you have the freedom to play in a more relaxed manner while not missing out on the core gameplay elements, but you can still focus on getting the best possible ending, which raises the game's difficulty significantly. The game tracks many of your achievements through photographs. Jack has a photo album next to his bed where you can view all of them, and just about every unique event rewards you with a photograph. Winning festivals, getting married, becoming a parent, home renovations, seeing a fucking rabbit. Yeah. That's an actual event. You and this soulless bitch here see a rabbit together, and that's a significant time in your life. Who even took this picture? You go there with her, and only her. In fact, the same thing can be said about most of the photos. Well, besides the fact that some events aren't really eventful, and that almost every photograph is taken by a fucking ghost or something, this is a pretty solid way of tracking your accomplishments in my opinion. It keeps track of the things you've done without breaking any immersion, which is awesome. Learn up, Sony and Microsoft. This shit just ain't cutting it anymore. One of the most memorable parts of the game is marriage. Because I don't know about you, but when I was in my adolescence, my primary goal was to find a woman, stick with her forever, start and raise a family, and watch Pokemon at 4. Anyhow, there are 5 available women, and you can pick one to marry, though you can win over as many as you want. It's kinda like a fucked up dating show, except there's no catchy intro theme, no over-the-top announcer, and it's not a show at all. You're just a heartless bachelor who takes no shame in breaking lonely girls' hearts. Love. Anyways, each of the girls is unique in their own way. There's the tomboyish Anne, overly feminine Ellie, the geeky bitch Maria, the drama queen Karen, and Porpourri. And believe me, she's just as wild as her name, which I'm still sure I can't pronounce, suggests. Pink hair. Pink fucking hair. I don't even know. But this was always the hardest decision in the game next to picking names that have tighter restrictions than North Korea. Just look at all the lovely candidates. Anne and Ellie are so symbolic of the ever-present sexism in the world, and they each have their own delightful charm accompanied with drawbacks. Porpourri is a free thinker who isn't afraid to express herself in vibrant and exotic ways. But the one who is the most lovable and developed is Maria. She's shy, quiet, and lonely. She makes you question yourself, and whether or not you're truly happy with your situation. She works alone in the library, which is symbolic in the sense that once you acquire knowledge, you're likely to be isolated by society. Yeah, fuck that, I'm going with Karen, she's the hottest. And on top of her looks, ditziness, and bratty attitude, she's the biggest alcoholic in town. Perfect girl, hands down. But in reality, this was the choice I made as a kid. I married Karen because she was the most attractive, and I will do so every time. You can call me shallow, you're probably right. This game, however, does do a solid job when it comes to giving the characters their own personality. On top of that, it's not afraid to tackle darker themes. Ellie's grandmother can eventually die while mid-conversation with you. And there's a little girl who always talks about her mother who passed away, but she's just a little too young to understand the situation. And Kai, this guy, right here, is a slave worker at the vineyard. I don't know about you, but that looks like blatant racism to me. There had to be some sort of lawsuit here. A black slave? Good on you guys. Good on you. I thought we moved past that, but I guess I was wrong. Yay for stereotypes, right? Go racism. The only thing that really holds back the plot development of this game is the fact that the characters say the same recycled lines for the entirety of the game. It just really breaks any sense of immersion when you're talking to someone, and then they blatantly repeat the same fucking line again. I wish you'd visit the library more. I wish you'd visit the library more. No, shut the fuck up. I can understand the memory being an issue, but they could have fit a few more lines of dialogue in the game. Beyond all the relationship developing and love, the main appeal of the game is actually tending to your farm. When you arrive, you can tell Grandpa must have thrown his back out for a solid decade because the fields have completely gone to shit. As the game progresses though, you can clear the field, plant crops, and raise animals. Now, raising livestock is probably one of the most fun parts. You can brush them, utilize them for resources, build fields for them to live in, and even enter them in competitions. This here was Bobby. She was my best cow. She was so good, these city line sluts walked all the way to my ranch just to take a picture with her. Bobby was the ultimate chick magnet. Booyah! It's just a shame that Karen already stole my prepubescent heart. Sorry ladies, you've got to go home now. Animals are harder to tend to at earlier parts of the game due to the fact that you have to purchase food and feed them daily, and if you neglect them too much, they will die. Try explaining to a 7-year-old me that my pride and joy cow died because I decided to go fishing one too many times. Yeah, fucking heartbreak. This game just has so much death in it. So to avoid potential stress in the future, I stick to crops early on. The controls also can become a problem as you'll often find yourself watering the same crop twice by accident, throwing a perfectly good item on the ground, struggling to talk to somebody, or your goddamn horse just won't fucking move. Get the fuck out of here, come on, move! Honestly, the worst part of this game is the controls. They just get annoying and janky at times, and it seems like Jack is seizing at points rather than tilling soil. Considering the fact that it's not a fast-paced game though, this isn't very problematic except for a few key moments, but it doesn't particularly ruin the game whatsoever. Despite the realistic approach this game takes, it also has a tinge of childishness to it. There are little cave elves that can only speak Pig Latin until you befriend them, and then they relearn modern English magically. Great fairies can grant you a limited amount of wishes, and of course, the, to say the least, fucking adorable dog. Shit, man, I love this bastard more than I love my wife. Sorry, Karen, Blue takes priority over you. Shouldn't have dropped that egg while tending to the chickens. Hell, these innocent parts of the game are probably the only reason why this game was rated E for everyone. Shit, this is the only E game that I've played that has alcoholic characters that hate their home life, scenarios that relate to death in the real world, animal abuse, and even slavery. Fucking slavery? E for everyone my ass. I'm surprised this game didn't end up on Australia's ban list with that kind of content. To sum it up, this game will always be one of my personal favorites. It wasn't the absolute best in terms of gameplay, graphics, or even storytelling. Hell, to be perfectly honest, this game doesn't exceed in any one area, but there's just something I love about it. I still find myself spending hours watering crops, feeding my cows, or winning over the beautiful Karen. It might just be the fact that I grew up with this game that makes me so attached to it, but so be it. Maybe my taste isn't justified, but I also think it's a bit silly to look at games in such a systematic way. In the grand scheme of things, I had fun with Harvest Moon, and I think that should be the most important aspect of a game. I can talk about this game for hours, and I've just hardly scratched the surface. But for now, Blue and I have a farm to tend to.